right, welcome everyone. This is a very exciting day for us at Metro Vancouver, as well as our member municipalities that will benefit from this incredible pump station that's behind me here.
Ensuring the delivery of clean, safe drinking water is one of Metro Vancouver's key responsibilities. With tens of thousands of people moving here every year, infrastructure must keep pace with demand. The new Barnston Maple Ridge pump station was built to help meet the drinking water requirements of Maple Ridge, Langley, and Surrey for years to come.
My involvement with Barnston Maple Ridge pump station goes back to 1999. We were trying to look ahead and figure out the location for the pump station and see if we are able to secure the property well ahead of time and then design and build the pump station for the particular property.
A site in Pitt Meadows near Maple Ridge was chosen for the $46.5 million project.
We're on the site of the pump station that is part of the Ridge Water Utility Projects, which includes the pump station and associated pipelines in this area. When this project is complete, this will increase the available water volume and also the pressure of the water that is available for residents in the eastern part of our region.
Roughly 500 homes were affected by the construction of the new pump station and its accompanying pipework. For that reason, Metro Vancouver appointed a community liaison officer.
The idea is to inform them of what we're doing, as well as get feedback from what their individual concerns might be around perhaps medical needs. On previous projects, we've had issues where a person is taking a medical treatment that requires perhaps a daily visit to a clinic or a hospital, and they may be mobility impaired. So we want to hear from residents that have issues so that we can work with them and work with our contractor to minimize the amount of impact, such as dust, cleaning of the roads, the amount of noise they make.
We got neighbors involved quite early in the process. We get input from the neighborhood to make sure that we address all of their concerns during detailed design and to make sure that a new facility fits nicely within the neighborhood, enhances the neighborhood, because the facility is there to stay for a long time.
Metro Vancouver made a point of holding regular meetings with the neighbors.
We have a working group made up of community members who appoint themselves as being interested in the project and living nearby.
Our experience of the neighbors' conversations, many of them were surprised that the building actually to some extent had any design thought at all. Our standards for these kinds of industrial buildings have been historically not very ambitious in this part of the world. We felt it was important, we would certainly hope that the neighbors agreed, that the building have a little bit of a face toward Lougheed, that the building have a sense of quality overall, as opposed to just looking like another kind of block building.
There's no doubt that living next to a construction project is a disruptive experience. Metro Vancouver's goal is to educate neighbors in advance so they know what to expect.
Well, I was angry when I first found out about this project because when we bought our home, we had a golf driving range behind us. Now we find we're getting a pump station.
You can see it's right next to a lot of the residents that live in this part of Maple Ridge. They can hear the noises that come from the site here, and if any dust or other effects are coming off the site, they're going to notice them right away.
It hasn't been too bad. It's been noisy. You know, you live next to a construction site, so it's just one of those projects for the greater good, as they say, and it has to be done.
I appreciate the fact that the people doing the job have a job to do, and it has to get done. Now, some of us are going to have to suffer, so the rest of the people get what they need, and that's a higher water volume and pressure.
On this day, rebar was being moved onto the site and workers were tying it, one of the quieter stages of construction. The day of a concrete pour is another matter, as cement mixers come and go all day long, often into the night. But the worst disruption was in early 2012 when sheet piling was used to build access shafts to tunnels under the low-heat highway.
I came out here onto my deck and the flowers were shaking, the house was shaking, and I had visions of major damage. And we had some damage, but thankfully the people from Metro have addressed the issues, and the concrete work that I had done in my backyard here is going to be replaced because it's cracked and it's sunk.
Neighbors were also worried about sound levels, not so much due to construction, but out of concern for what kind of noise the pump station would generate once it was up and running.
We asked our consultant to design the pump station to make it as quiet and friendly to the neighbours as possible. The water-cooled motors are a lot quieter. So the whole pump station has got soundproof louvers and things like that to make it as quiet as possible.
Were neighbors happy with the end results? It would be almost 5 years before the verdict was in.
Your guide to adult toilet training. Tip number 1, the unflushables. When you flush disposable wipes, they make your toilet and our sewer system work a lot harder, causing backed up pipes, flooded basements, and spills into our environment. The only things that should go in your toilet are pee, poo, and toilet paper. Remember, even if they say they're flushable, wipes go in the garbage. Never flush wipes.
As the Barnston Maple Ridge Pump Station project began to take shape, some of its challenges began to stand out. First, the fact that the building site is situated on a floodplain. The project originally called for helical piling to be used in order to eliminate the noise of traditional pile driving, but the ground conditions on the site weren't suitable, so that plan had to be scrapped.
It's just the deep clay all around this area, and we needed to stop the building from lifting up during the 200-year flood. So that's the reason that we had to have piles in. Unfortunately, the helical piles didn't work, so we've got the mass concrete, which is going to be fixed to the bottom floor slab. That'll stop the building from floating during the flooding.
In other words, the sheer weight of the concrete will hold it in place, with a total of 3.3 meters of concrete forming the base of the building. Another sustainable feature is the building's roof beams.
The beams here are made of wood. They didn't need to be made of wood. They could have been steel, but we felt that this was a resource that is sustainable. So these are glulam beams. They're made of layers of wood or planks that have been glued together, and they're protected with a coating so that they will last for a very long time.
The building also features environmentally friendly LED lighting as well as highly energy efficient cooling systems for the pumps. And most importantly for the neighbors, a green roof.
We're on the green roof of the Barnston Maple Ridge Pump Station, and this is about half a football field size. You're looking at 40 different species of plants, 39 of which are native. This is one of the native strawberry plants here, and there's native sedum, several different types. There's also bulbs and perennials and quite a few grasses as well.
The roof provides habitat for birds and bugs, but also acts as a buffer for the neighbors immediately to the east.
The neighbors are now looking straight across to a green roof where they're going to see the change of season, the different colors of the year, and they're going to have some interest to look out at as opposed to just looking at a concrete and steel building.
Recycling electronic items keeps harmful chemicals out of our environment. Anything with a battery or plug can be recycled, and you don't need to take it apart, just drop it off. Find a depot at metrovancouverrecycles.org. Welcome back to our look at the planning and construction of the Barnston Pump Station. Metro Vancouver's lead senior engineer on the project, Raymond Eng, showed us around.
Welcome inside Metro Vancouver's new Barnston Maple Ridge Pump Station. I'm standing on the pump level floor, and behind me are the pumps that serve the residents of Maple Ridge, Surrey, and Langley, and we provide over 385 million liters of water to those residents. This is one of the 6 pumps we have at the pump station. Now, each pump is over 6,200 pounds, with a combined capacity of over 385 million liters of water.
The building is designed to accommodate 2 more pumps for the future. It's likely they won't need to be purchased or installed for another 30 years.
So here we have one of our water-cooled motors. So we draw water off our water main, and the water flows through the motor and comes back out. And it extracts the heat from the motor, and then the water goes back up to our water main and gets injected back to our system. The benefit of this system is that we don't require additional electricity or equipment to cool the motors. Now, the crane allows us to take equipment out for maintenance purposes, and those include our large diameter valving, our pumps, and our motors. When this station is in full operation, it's equivalent to about 500 homes using electricity. Now, this station is fully controllable and operable through our Seymour Capilano filtration plant.
Canadians waste too much food. About 1/3 of all purchased food in Canada is thrown out. Add in the cost for food waste all along the supply chain, and that's $100 billion a year of wasted food, energy, and resources. This wasted food can end up in landfills producing methane and fueling climate change, which is why we're introducing the National Food Waste Reduction Strategy. By bringing together policy, innovation, and public engagement, we know we can make a difference. The strategy has a suite of tools for local governments and businesses, like organic disposal bans, food donation guidelines, infrastructure investments, and apps that link restaurants and producers with food donor recipients. It's a proposal we hope will trigger a big conversation across our big country between all Canadians, citizens, businesses, and governments. The strategy comes with shareable materials aimed at changing behaviors. We're launching a Canada-wide Love Food, Hate Waste campaign to promote a culture of waste-free meals. And we introduced the Food Donor Tax Incentive, a policy initiative that has been adopted by the Federation of Canadian Municipalities and 22 local governments. We want the federal government to pass legislation that encourages food donations and makes it easier to donate than to throw it away. Food waste is a big problem, but big problems get smaller when we work together. Together, we can change the way Canadians consume their food.
Cheers. Clean water in Metro Vancouver. Cheers.
The Barnston Maple Ridge Pump Station project has been in the works since the late 80s. The active planning and construction took nearly 7 years. It was officially put into use in June of 2016.
All right, welcome everyone. This is a very exciting day for us at Metro Vancouver, as well as our member municipalities that will benefit from this incredible pump station that's behind me here.
Politicians and other dignitaries were given their chance to see the state-of-the-art facility. But perhaps the real test came 2 weeks later when the pump station's neighbors were invited over for a look.
We're having a community barbecue here today because we wanted to thank the community that lives near our project here at the Barnston Pump Station for their patience during the construction process. We know that it's a lot to live through when you have a really big multi-million-dollar building happening very close to where you live. One of the neighbors of the project, Don Curry, became really friendly with us, and he was a really great asset to have in the community. So it was good to be able to come out for a site meeting on a Tuesday once a week, and I'd start by going to see Don. We'd go up on his deck overlooking the project property here, and we'd have a cup of coffee. He'd be able to tell me about what had been going on with our contractor over the past few days since we'd met, and give me an update on his perspective of the job.
I'm a carpenter by trade, and I was a contractor and a superintendent, and I built a lot of buildings in the city. So for me to sit and watch what was happening from my back deck, it was kind of cool.
Liaising with the adjacent community, especially during the planning stages and in the early days of construction, paid off in neighborhood buy-in for the project.
All of my neighbors that I speak to like it.
Oh, I'm really impressed. I mean, they designed a different one, and we had a couple meetings, and then we expressed our concern, and they really listened.
They did everything that we suggested that they do and more.
That is all the time we have for today's episode. Thanks for watching The Sustainable Region.